Nifty scales back after hitting a fresh intraday high. IT and private banks see selective buying, while PSU banks see profit-taking today. Mid-cap index outperforms frontliners.
AI poster child Nvidia sparks a massive rally on Wall Street after strong earnings. All three U.S. equity benchmarks end at record highs, with the Nasdaq surging 3%, Nvidia rally 16%.
Vodafone Idea rallies 8% as the board is set to meet on February 27th to consider fundraising. Citi says that the promoter participation will be key in any rights issue.
And investors kick off the EGM of embattled edtech giant Byju's, an event that could decide the fate of founder Byju Ravindran. Ravindran and other board members are not attending the meeting, calling it procedurally invalid and in contravention of the Articles of Association as well as the Companies Act.
Hello and welcome. You've tuned into Business Lunch. I'm Nisha Podar, and with me today is Sonia Shenoy. Hi, Sonia.
Hi, Nisha.
So the market has been slightly choppy, but in a very tight range.
Absolutely.
And is trying to now limp back to the opening levels. In fact, 30-odd points away from where it actually opened. So currently, Nifty 50 is at 22,260-odd levels, so marginally higher, reaching about 0.2% of gains. When we talk about Sensex, over 130 points gain at the moment. What's doing better than the frontline indices is the other pockets. So Bank Nifty is up about 0.3%, and the mid-cap universe, that is showing a huge amount of outperformance with 0.7% gain. And therefore, the advanced decline ratio and the overall market strength is way better because of the broader market participation. On my screen at the moment, in terms of the Nifty gainers, in terms of percentage, Bajaj Finserv, M&M, Dr. Reddy's, Cipla. So Pharma having a good day today. So those are the ones. Asian Paints, Bharti Airtel are some of the big draggers of the day in terms of percentage, Sonia.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, the buy on dip strategy is something that is working, right? That is the undisputed move of the market. Fourth day of record highs for the market as we speak. Of course, the headline index is holding on to 22,200, but a couple of things. The most important thing the Nifty has done is held on to that 20-day moving average in the last couple of days. That was a powerful tool. Once the Nifty held on to that, it sort of built on to its gains. Also, we've had global markets which are at record highs. The S&P 500 closed at fresh record highs yesterday. So that has given added incentive to the markets. But let's look at some of the buzzing stocks in trade. Vodafone Idea is surging in trade ahead of a board meeting on the 27th of February. Rima tells us more on what to expect. Rima.
Thanks so much for that. So 8% higher on Vodafone Idea today. The month-to-date rally now stands at more than 20%. And this is a stock which has seen a 165% rally in the last 1 year. So from its 52-week low, which took place on 31st of March 2023, the stock is up, quite a bit. 5.7 rupees was the 52-week low. There is a board meeting, as you rightly pointed out, next week on the 27th of February, where they will consider a fundraise. Now, the key is going to be the quantum of fundraise. The company has been unsuccessful in the past to raise some money. So how much they raise is going to be key, because that will determine their deleveraging, because debt on the books is in excess of 2 lakh crore rupees, and also their 5G foray and the kind of investments they can make. Now Citi says if it's done via rights issue, because right now all options are on the table based on what the company's BSE announcement says. It could be rights issue, pref issue, QIP. If it's a rights issue, then the promoter participation will be the key. And in the past, Kumar Mangalam Birla has also indicated that 2,000 crore is what they're willing to pump in. A successful fundraise will be positive for Indus, while if they raise a very large amount, it could weigh on Bharti Airtel and its peers. Back to you.
All right. Thanks so much, Rima, for getting us all those details. So February 27th will be the important day to watch out for. Take a look at this particular stock, and Vodafone Idea has been surging in trade, over 11% up. And in the last 5 days also, you have seen that particular stock lift up from 15 rupees per share to now above 18 rupees per share. So all on the anticipation of fundraising by the company. In fact, Kumar Mangalam Birla also said that the company is looking for a partner in Vodafone Idea. Let's listen in.
We remain very committed to Vodafone, and like we've said in public domain, efforts are on to get outside investors. And, and I don't know what's prompting your question. I think we remain as committed to it as we have been in the past.
All right. Well, that's Kumar Mangala Birla and the reason why Vodafone Idea is surging. But let's do one thing. Let's take a quick commercial break. On the other side of the break, lots more coming up. So stay tuned. Welcome back. You're watching Business Lunch on CNBC-TV18. Well, let's now get you some interesting views on the Indian markets. Jefferies' Chris Wood, in his widely followed Greed and Fear note, said that India looks like the best equity story in the world over the next 10 years. Hormuz is here to get us details of that report. Hormuz, over to you.
For those who are actually followers of the Indian markets and have some sort of attachment towards it, here's something that will make your day. Chris Wood of Jefferies, in his well-known Greed and Fear note, has mentioned that India is the best equity story in the world on a 10-year view, a full decade. Now, that's enough to make your day, I guess, but then there is more that he has spoken about as well. Now, first up, he talks about India's GDP, where he mentions that it is realistic to project a 7% real GDP growth and a 12 to 15% earnings growth going forward. Now, if India is indeed the best equity story from a 10-year standpoint, it is only apt that its markets will do well. And Greed and Fear is projecting India's market capitalization to hit $10 trillion by the turn of the decade from $4.5 trillion that it is at currently. That's almost 2.5 times from current levels. That's another thumbs up. But Chris Wood is lamenting the fact that despite the general consensus emerging for India among many global investors, some of who have not even invested in the country, India's market does not command enough weightage in the global indices. Take a look at this. India's weightage in the MSCI AC World Index is at 1.8%. In comparison, the country has a weightage of nearly 29% in the Greed and Fear global long-only portfolio. Now, the extent of India's market doing well is evident from this table, which shows you that the rise in market capitalization of India's companies. The number of companies with over $1 billion market cap has nearly doubled over the last 5 years. And same is the case for the $5 billion and the $10 billion bucket, where the number of companies have doubled. So what is the biggest risk now in this market? The biggest risk is that there is no risk at all. And Wood is mentioning the same thing, that the biggest worry is how well the Indian market has done of late. The India long-only portfolio is up 75.5% in US dollar terms since March of 2023 in comparison to the 39.2% MSCI India gain. Now, what is the other area of concern? Of course, it is the broader markets and their valuations. The Nifty mid-cap index is trading at a one-year forward earnings multiple of around 26 times, and compare that to the Nifty's 20.2 times. But they want to look at the valuations from the context of acceleration in growth in reaction to the pickup in the capex cycle. Another sector where Greed and Fear is focusing on is real estate. 19% of their India portfolio is in real estate stocks, and the India unit of Jefferies has been bullish on the real estate space for a while now. And Greed and Fear believes that this is the third year of the property upcycle. What is also in an uptrend is State Bank of India, India's largest lender, where Greed and Fear is increasing its weightage in the Asia ex-Japan long-only portfolio by 1 percentage point. And where will that come from? Of course, by trimming it in HDFC Bank, which has been an underperformer. So the big takeaway, India is the best story for the next 10 years, 10 trillion in projected market cap by the end of the decade. If you're an Indian market watcher, there's nothing more you can ask for, but then there is always a greed for a little bit more, isn't it?
All right, Hormuz, very interesting. Their comments coming in on India's potential. Thanks so much. Now, moving on to a corporate development. Well, sources tell us that Go First lenders and committee of creditors will meet today to review the bids. Ritu Singh is joining in with all the details. Tell us, Ritu.
Well, Nisha, that's right. The Committee of Creditors is currently holding a meeting to evaluate the two bids that have come in for Go First. The two bids, which have now been confirmed by both the parties, have been submitted. One by, SpiceJet's Ajay Singh in his personal capacity, along with Nishan Pitti from Ease My Trip, who has submitted the bid in the capacity of, the founder of Busy Bee. So that is one bid. The second bid that has come in is from Sky One, which is a Sharjah-based aviation company. Now, we had previously reported reported that Ajay Singh and Nishan Pitti's bid was approximately about 600 crore rupees, including various land parcels that they seek to monetize. However, keep in mind, the bid is yet to be seen by the bankers, so we'll get more updates later in the day. Sky One confirmed its bid and said it was in talks with various stakeholders to ensure, a resolution is achieved at if its bid was approved, but did not confirm the amount. The meeting of the Committee of Creditors is expected to end later in the evening, which is when we'll have further updates. But this is not the end of the matter. There will be some negotiations on these base bids before any of them is finally put to vote.
All right, Ritu, stay on. The troubled edtech giant firm Byju's also had the much-awaited extraordinary general meeting today. This is the event that will perhaps decide the fate of CEO Baiju Ravindran and the board members. Ritu, what are you picking up from the EGM?
Well, the EGM started at 9 a.m. as scheduled, despite, various attempts by the company, by Byju's, to move the High Court to declare this EGM invalid, but that request was not entertained. The EGM, took place amid much disruption. It has now ended, and all the 7 resolutions have been put to vote. The results, however, are still awaited. There were as many as 170 joinees at one point of time, and after re-verification, 37 were left as, the verified attendees. There were lots of attempts made to impersonate some of the investors. So all of that drama unfolded, even as, there were 7 key resolutions that were put to vote. The key among them was removing Baiju Ravindran as the CEO of the company, along with removing Divya Gokulnath and Riju Ravindran from their managerial and directorial positions and as signatories to any sort of financial checks. Apart from this, the shareholders are also seeking a forensic audit into Byju's to ascertain, the various acquisitions that have been made, compliances and so on, the reason for the delay in filing financial statements, and they're seeking to revamp the board and appoint new 9 members, including representation from shareholders as well as the independent directors and the group companies, including one founder. Now, remember, whatever the outcome of the EGM, which is still awaited, it will be subject to the final orders from the Karnataka High Court, which is where Byju's had challenged this EGM. The next hearing in this matter is on the 13th of March. It is only after that will we know whether these resolutions can be given effect to or not.
All right. Thanks, Ritu, for putting all that into perspective and giving us all the details. Well, it's a big tussle between investors and founder from a new age company. Not the first one in this space, but definitely most dramatic one. Let's slip into a short breather on the show now, but more news and updates on the other side. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back. You're watching Business Lunch. Let's get you an important update. Well, the world leaders and business honchos will be jetting to Jamnagar for the pre-wedding celebrations of Ambani's scion, Anant Ambani and Radhika Merchant, which is scheduled for early March. Now, the wedding is set to take place on 12th of July. Invitations have been sent out not only to the who's who of the world and the corporate world, but to several heads of the states. Now, some of these names include Qatar's Prime Minister Mohammed bin Abdul Rahman, Mahan bin Jassim, and also the King and Queen of Bhutan. The bevy of former heads of states will also be in attendance over there, to include the former Prime Minister of Sweden, also Australia and Canada, and also the former presidents of Bolivia, Ivanka Trump, and also the former advisor to the President of the United States, and also the World Economic Forum are going to be on the list of these high-profile attendees.
Well, noted names from the business and corporate world on the invitation list include Dr. Sultan Al Jaber, the CEO and MD of Abu Dhabi National Oil Company, Saudi Aramco Chairman Yasser Al Rumayyan. Jamnagar Airport, which is used to single-digit landings daily, will see around 50 landings on the 1st of March. That's because the list doesn't end here. Meta CEO Mark Zuckerberg, Bill Gates, the co-chair of the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, are also expected to participate in the festivities, rubbing shoulders with many more VIPs, especially tycoons from India and people from the world of entertainment. Will be Alphabet Sundar Pichai, Adobe CEO Shantanu Narayan, Walt Disney's Bob Iger, and BP CEO Murray Auchincloss as well.
Also on the long list of guests which will really make this single biggest gathering of VIPs in India outside the G20 are BlackRock's Larry Fink and Rob Goldstein, General Atlantic's Bill Ford and Brookfield's Anuj Ranjan. Also, Khaldoon Al-Mubarak of Mubadala and Joe Bay of KKR are also expected to fly down to Jamnagar for the big celebrations.
All right, with that, it's curtains down on this edition of Business Lunch. Thanks a lot for watching. You guys have a great afternoon.